I thought this was a special meeting. Does it still need to go up? Yes?
Mhm. Hey, Joy, if you can hear me, I'm trying to get the speakers working downstairs. Okay, I was trying to get them routed right. I think I got them because I heard you a little bit. Thank you.
Okay, cool. Thanks, Joy. Okay, so I just started our recording. Good morning, everyone. It is June 25th. This is a special call meeting for the State Committee for School District Audits. It is open to the Kentucky Open Meetings Act, and so it was made available by the APA, I believe yesterday or the 23rd. We have Joy Markland, our comms director, who is monitoring the live stream. I believe that we are doing YouTube now. And so we'll keep the Teams meeting for our internal committee members and guests from our internal agencies. And then all external parties will view the SCISDA meeting virtually through YouTube Live, unless they decide to come to the APA, which we have Alex Evans holding down the fort downstairs to welcome any guests, should we have any. So I'll go ahead and call roll. So I'm the Auditor of Public Accounts designee, Shauna Kraus, Officer of Education Accountability designee, Sabrina Cummins.
Here.
Office of the Attorney General designee, Stacy Woodrum. I see you down there. Commissioner of Education designee, Marshall Smith.
Here.
Office of the Governor designee, John Hicks.
Here.
Great. Thankfully, we have a quorum, and hopefully we'll be able to get some stuff approved today. From the APA, as I mentioned, we have Joy Markland, our comms director, and Alex Evans, our executive staff advisor, who will be recording the minutes for us today. Marshall, do you want to present our KDE guests?
Sure. We have Jackie Chisholm, Kelly Young, and Kim Carter.
Welcome all. I realized I left one thing off the agenda that I sent you guys. We will need to approve March 21st minutes as well as the June 13th minutes. I believe both minutes were shared in the email, so you should have been able to review those. But we'll get started by reviewing and approving the minutes for our March 21st, 2024 meeting. Were there any suggested edits or changes that anyone had to those minutes? If not, we'll go ahead and approve. Is there a motion to approve the March 21st minutes?
So moved.
Thank you, John. Is there a second?
A second.
Marshall, thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. And we'll also go ahead and review and approve our June 13th minutes. Were there any suggested edits to those minutes? All right, not seeing any edits. Is there a motion to approve the June 13th minutes?
I'll make the motion to approve.
Sabrina, thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, John. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the minutes are approved. Is there any other old business that we need to cover that I managed to leave off the agenda? Not seeing any, we'll move on to our new business / semi 2-week-old business. First thing on the agenda is the Fulton County audit report. They've had late submissions by their CPA. And so, Marshall, I'll turn it over to you again to do your presentation for us, if you don't mind.
Sure, absolutely. Should I share my screen or does everyone just follow along?
You can share your screen.
Okay.
Thankfully, we have the YouTube Live helping us this week. So hopefully we will
Okay.
not have any interruptions again.
All right.
Thank you, Marshall.
This is something sort of new. I haven't presented yet, so I put together a packet of information I think everyone will want to see. Just in summary, Fulton County, they engage with ATA, CPAs, and advisors. to do the fiscal year 23 audit. That had the initial due date, like all of them, November 15th of 23. We approved extensions for the audit, and that extended deadline was February 15th, 24. The firm did not turn in the final version of the audit until May 28th, 2024. There are some penalties outlined in the contract, I think up to 10%. And so I laid some information there out, and I wanted us to consider invoking those penalties. I have page 1, the contract up, and if you, I will try not to make everybody dizzy. Let's see, if you go to section 8, item A, there may be a 10% reduction in audit fee if one of the following situations occur. And item 1, the audit report is not submitted in accordance with delivery of audit report with section 7. And that's right above there. Let's see. In this sentence, the electronic copy of the audit report must be received by KD on or before November 15, 2023, or by the later date approved by the committee. And that date for them was February 15th of 24. I have a few emails here as example. I will go down to page 18. And I apologize, not all these end up in chronological order. March 21st here, we have an email from the district, Fulton County, their finance officer, Jennifer Davis. She indicates that they have tried multiple times to contact Ty, who is a partner at the firm, in their contact. And they've got no response from them. Then I will go down to page 21. This is the actual next day, an email. Ty, the partner at ATA, indicated he had a tax deadline as well as his wife giving birth to a new baby, and that is what's been the holdup so far. Go down a couple more pages, my packet 23. Here we are on May 24th. He indicated he's working with his technical reviewer on some changes to the audit. Let's see. And then if you go down to, page 28, you'll see this is when we actually got the final draft of the audit, and that was dated May 28th. So roughly 3.5 months after the extended deadline of May 15th. With a combination of him being very difficult to reach, unresponsive to a lot of stuff we didn't during the whole process. We weren't really sure if we were ever going to get an audit because they were unresponsive. A combination of that, as well as how late they were, I did want us to consider voting on a reduction of fee as outlined in the contract.
Yeah, I support the idea of invoking the penalty. I think, Sabrina, you and I were kind of on that similar page a couple weeks ago. We did toss around the idea of like drafting a letter to the firm stating like why we're invoking the penalty, right? Giving them a heads up, and also that we would not approve any other audits that they want to participate on, which to my understanding, they are like trying to get out of school district audits. So I'm not sure that they would, that we would see a contract with them in the future, but I do believe that it would be wise for us to include that statement in the letter. I'd like to hear from the other committee members your thoughts on the penalty as well as the letter in general.
Question for those who've been around longer than I have, but has the committee invoked, a dollar penalty like we're proposing here? Just curious.
Maybe years ago, and I'm talking over 20 years ago, but we haven't had this situation happen. I've been here for the last 15 years and we've never had this happen like this before.
My view, Shauna, I concur, and because a lot of the reasons given in later emails were way after the February 15th deadline, so I don't think those were relevant to why the February deadline was not hit. Shauna, are you also proposing invoking subsection B in your comments that the accountant at the discretion of the committee be ineligible to conduct a school district audit for the upcoming year? Or are you suggesting some other message to go with the penalty?
Yeah, I like subsection B, the language. I would make the proposal. Well, I don't know if we should reevaluate it every year, right? Because subsection B, Marshall, would you mind scrolling up to that?
Yes.
It mentions just the next year, which we should probably stick with contract language and use that and just say the next year rather than like for all eternity. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, I think we should take that language directly from, yeah, I would say we draft the letter based on subsections A and B. Yeah. And just pull that language into a letter directly to ATA.
And because we in these contracts inject the committee's discretion, as you were described, it's Fulton County that ultimately, carries out the penalty.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, if I could, I would add that, the school districts pay the bill in total. And the conversation I had with the finance officer is that their board attorney was advising them to pay the whole total bill. And when I discussed with the finance officer, we both agreed we didn't feel like this firm was entitled to the entire fee. But she said that their attorney was advising them to pay the whole fee. And we thought that if the committee considered this and voted for that, it may help their case with their board attorney as far as considering whether or not they pay the whole fee or not.
And that was their county attorney or their board attorney?
No, their board attorney.
Board attorney. Okay.
Yeah.
And I know last time you mentioned, at least as of our last meeting, they had not made any payments. Is that still the case, or do you think they've made payments?
I have not followed up with her, to be honest with you. So.
Okay.
But she did know that we were bringing this forth. She knew when our meeting was, so I anticipate that she would withhold until.
Okay. Maybe let's follow up with Fulton County to ensure that they haven't made any payments. Because
Well,
I think
I understand, Sean, but I don't think that matters as to our action, right? We're either choosing to impose this for our discretion. How it gets carried out by Fulton County is kind of Fulton County's business.
Yeah. Well, I was just thinking, like, if we submit a letter to them saying, they need to take 10% off their bill, but the bill's already been sent and paid. I mean, that's not up to us. That's Fulton County can fight that.
Yeah.
Using our letter as support, right? So it is out of our hands. Okay. Were there any other thoughts on this matter before we move to make a motion? I guess first, is everyone comfortable with the letter and including the language from section 8, subsections A and B in the letter?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to draft the letter and then share it with the committee for consideration before we send it out. I'm happy to do that. Ask for 24 hours at least while I wrap up end of the year audits, but that's it. Okay, if everyone's happy with that, then I make a motion to draft a letter to ATA CPAs, notifying them of the penalties we're invoking, as well as the ineligibility to conduct school district audits in the future, to be reconsidered each fiscal year. Is there a second to that motion?
I'll
I
second.
would second.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All righty. Next on the agenda is the fiscal year 24 audit consideration report. Marshall, I'll turn it back over to you.
Sure. Thank you.
Mhm.
Let's see. All right, I'm sharing the screen, which is the spreadsheet that we do every year. This shows all the information that we review for audit firms and the audit contracts we've got for the upcoming fiscal year 2024 audit. A summary page, just real quick on our desk reviews of fiscal year 23. These notes are a little bit outdated. We met with the APA to go over preliminary results, and we should be able to present the actual results of the desk reviews of 23 audits at our next meeting, which I believe will be in September. And then for our contracts for the 24 year, all 171 districts have engaged with a firm. It's currently going to be spread across 27 firms. 3 firms that performed audits in 23 are not performing audits in 24. We have 1 new firm performing an audit, school district audit in 24. We had 6 districts that were late in submitting in their contracts. And we have 1 district that has not submitted a signed contract to us. We actually got it earlier this week, but it was missing a date on the signature, so we've sent it back to them to get that fixed. So we have 170 on 171 contracts. Next tab, fiscal year 24 peer reviews. Our first section, new fiscal year 24 auditors new to doing audits. That's our 1 firm I just mentioned, BHM CPA Group. Their peer review was completed November 27, 23. They got a pass rating. It expires November 30th, 2026. I made that documentation available in the Dropbox. Of course, there's limited information on that, but it's a pass rating. So we see no exception with that firm in relation to the peer review. The next section here, excuse me, is the fiscal year 24 auditors that have a peer review that is expired and not yet got their new peer review approved by Peer Review Alliance. We have 1 firm with an expired peer review, that is Shad J. Allen. They have done audits for the past few years. Their previous peer review had a pass rating. This year, they're turning in contracts for 16 districts, so quite a few. The peer review expired May 31st of 24, so just a few weeks ago. I called Mr. Allen to check on that. He said that the peer firm had completed the peer review, that they had not issued the report yet, but they finished their work, and that he could supply that to us and the acceptance letter once the peer review alliance accepted. The letter of our rule is that all firms have to participate in a peer review process. While their peer review is technically expired at this point, they are working to get their new one approved. I don't really see an exception with that, and we'll continue to follow up with them to make sure they're following through with the process, and we can report at the next meeting. The next section here is fiscal year 24 auditors that have a new peer review, but have some corrective actions that are due. We have Drain Company here. They are turning in a 24 contract on one district Clover report, and they have some corrective actions that are due September 30th of 24. I contacted the firm a few weeks ago. They said they had not completed the corrective actions at that point, but they plan to do so by the deadline. So we'll continue to follow up on that, and we'll report at our next meeting. And after that, I just have a listing of the remaining firms with the existing peer reviews. I have the expiration date of those peer reviews. For informational purposes, I noted the 3 firms that aren't doing audits in 24. And then we have LBMC, which is a name change that's formerly Strothman or Strothman. I'm not sure how they pronounce it, but that was formerly that firm. Our next tab, fiscal year 24 auditors. This is just a listing of every district and who the auditor is. We can change the sorting if anyone wants to see her firm. Over here, starting in column E, F, and G, and H, just for context, I put totals for the number of districts each firm is wanting to do for 24, and compared to the number of districts that did in 23 and the number of extensions they got. You see, you see those 3 firms that aren't doing any audits in 24. To pick up the slack, there are a few firms that really increase the number of districts they're doing in 24. But nothing noteworthy that we saw. Our next tab, fiscal year 24, submitted after May 31st. Those are the 6 districts that were late getting the contract to us. You see the dates on there that we got the contracts. Hancock County is blank because, like I mentioned before, we got their contract, but it's missing a date, one of the signatures. We sent that back to them. Haven't got it yet. In every case, it really boiled down to the district had trouble securing a firm to do their audits. The audit contract has to be signed by the board chair, so that trouble finding a firm ended up translating to missing their May board meeting. So they had to get the contract signed during their June meeting. So, and we have the information all related to Hancock County. We just don't have the contract in hand yet. Our next tab, fiscal year 24, cost per AADA. That's where we look at cost per the size of the school. I'm not sure why I've got this grayed out. Here we go. And I was able to sort that by AADA. So we put like size schools together. And as you might imagine, in smaller schools, the cost per student is higher. We see this one here for Southgate, $54.06 a student. Actually, the highest is right here, Fulton Independent, $75.14 a student. As you scroll through this, you do see some spikes here and there, like this one at Fulton, $75. 67 at Fulton County. Now I'm just scrolling down through here. If anyone has questions, please stop me. As you get to our largest school district, Jefferson County, that cost falls to $316 a student. Actually, it looks like the least is Christian County at $3.07 a student. Or no, I'm sorry, Massac County at $2.97 a student. As you go through that, we do see some spikes here and there that seem to correspond with having to get a new firm and reflecting of inflation costs. We're seeing audits cost quite a bit more. So it seems like the spikes correlate to the districts that have had to secure a new auditor recently. So it reflects those inflation numbers. Like I say, overall, we don't see anything to take exception to there.
If I could make a suggestion going forward, for this tab particularly, would there be a way for us to include the audit cost per AADA from this time prior year, like in an additional column, so we could see the change between fiscal year 23 and fiscal year 24?
Yeah, that shouldn't take but just a couple minutes.
And the next tab kind of gives you at least something similar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that, I think the next tab, didn't that one have reasons on it maybe?
Yeah.
If
Yes,
I'm
it
remembering
does.
correctly. So that's helpful. Okay. Yeah, because it's interesting that Fulton is so expensive and it's both independent and county, but again, it's likely securing their auditor, right? So, and
And
I
some
think that's just for me, like being so new, it's nice for me to see the change, you know. But yeah, the 5% increase tab, I guess, to John's point, kind of gets at that notion.
For context, Fulton Independent was in the news a lot. They had a lot of issues, and I think that their auditor that did it last year, he had to do a lot more work related to that. So I think those additional hours that you spent doing those things, I think is why you're seeing that spike.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point, Marshall.
All right, if next tab, fiscal year 24, 5% increase. I was able to get it sorted because I know when we looked at last week, we had it sporadic, but I was able to get that sorted. We do see some large increases here. Hardin County is one of them. They have a new auditor and they had trouble finding a firm that they accepted. The firm that they did settle on, D. Dorton, what did come at a high cost. You see a 145% increase. Elizabethtown Independent, also a large increase, 72%. That firm is based in Eastern Kentucky, so that may reflect the travel cost there. Then we have those others there, Marshall County 52%, Henderson County 48%. They both had trouble finding auditors too. Past couple of years, it's not been unusual to see 50% increases. So we don't like to see that, but it's not been unheard of. Then on our next tab, fiscal year 24, same auditor for the last 5 years. I was able to get this sorted as well. We're looking at districts that had the same audit firm for more than 5 years. We see Perry County here more than 30, Barron County 29. We have a number of districts that have chosen to keep the same firm year after year. We don't necessarily like that because there's always that risk of over familiarity and not really getting the professional skepticism that you could get. A couple years ago, we sent a letter out to the school districts, kind of pointing that out and making a recommendation to consider changing audit firms every 5 years. But ultimately, that comes down to a local decision.
Did you say you all sent letters out last year?
Not last year. It was 2. Do you remember, Serena? Was that 2 or
2 years ago?
Yeah.
I think
2
you're
years
right.
ago.
Yeah.
I've tried to go back and read all of the minutes for the last couple of years. They kind of blend together at this point, but so I was just trying to find that to see.
And the remaining tabs on there I have in blue. That's just indicating that that we don't have the information yet. We'll have those at our next meeting. So that is the extent the information that we have.
Marsha, I would say thanks for at least trying to notate the reason for the same auditor, because some of those comments are insightful.
Yes.
Yeah, they are. They are. Yes.
Yes. Go ahead, Marshall.
I was going to say that's all the information we have on that. Like I say, we still are missing that one audit contract, but their information is all reflective in the spreadsheet. So I think we could still vote to approve it, even though we don't have the contract as of yet. But considering all the information that we have here, I don't see any reason not to approve any of the contracts that we have.
Sorry, Sabrina, go ahead.
I was just gonna say that, I don't think we can approve that contract without actually having a physical contract. I think we can give provisional rights to KDE and then rectify it at our next meeting. And then also, I think for the 2 firms who are having peer review issues, we should temporarily approve theirs and based on the fact that it will be rectified when we get the actual peer reviews that say that they're okay. It's just, I think.
Okay.
The only thing I would add to that is they are going to be well into the audit work before we get that information.
Didn't Sabrina suggest that approval is contingent upon the completion of the peer review?
Mhm.
So Marshall, wouldn't wait until we meet again.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so that would be. So it'd be to approve the 170 contracts we do have, and then approving the one outstanding for Hancock with provisional rights to KDE. And then the two firms that still have outstanding peer reviews would also have provisional rights contingent upon completion of their peer review. Did I get all that correctly? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Sabrina, thanks for bringing that up because that's exactly what I was about to ask. So, before we make a motion on that, were there any thoughts around doing another batch of letters this year to the school district, I guess their boards, for those that are using the same auditors? I don't know if we want to have a cutoff, like maybe not all. I don't remember how many there are that have been 5 years and above. If we wanted to do 10 years, or if we want to send one out to all of them that have 5 years and above. I'd like to hear from some of you all that have done this before. Just get your thoughts.
I think the timing of that letter, right now is a little late for these because we're already approving them. So maybe at our next upcoming meeting or whatever, we can discuss it, and then we should send it out when we actually approve the audit contract for the following year. That way they have a little heads up. Because it could be there'll be new board members at that time because of elections in November.
Okay. So that's something we can discuss this fall and then send those letters out January, March. I guess we usually approve in March, right? So, okay. And John, did you have anything to add to that?
No, the way you recited it is, yeah, I'm supportive of that approach.
Good deal. All right, is there a motion to approve the 170 school district audit contracts, and then giving provisional rights to KDE for the one outstanding contract with Hancock County, and then provisional rights for the two CPA firms contingent upon receiving their peer review?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Sabrina, thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, John. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? All right, motion passed. The last thing I had on the miscellaneous agenda from my end, and then I'll open it up to the other committee members, was first of all, thank you, Marshall and team, for all of your hard work on putting that report together and for presenting today to the committee. I appreciate it. The one outstanding item I wanted to propose was shifting our SCISDA meeting time. This is not something that has to happen. It would help me out with some other committee obligations that I have. I'm unable to attend at the moment due to some overlap between SCISDA and other committees. Those that were here a couple weeks ago, I told you guys I get in very early at like 7. And so I'm open to any time, but I would love to hear from you guys. If maybe like a 9 a.m. meeting or later in the afternoon would work for you guys. If you don't want to switch the meeting time and you want to leave it at 11, I'm also open to hearing that. So I just would like to hear from the other committee members, your thoughts.
Either works for me. I mean, the only difficulty I have is when we get into legislative session, and so there's no way to predict the better time.
Okay.
I'm with that as well. I'm flexible. Anytime that would work.
Me too.
All right. I would like to make a motion then that we change our meeting time to 9 a.m. So that will take effect at our next SCISDA meeting, which is scheduled currently for September 12th, 2024. That meeting was voted on back in March to be in person at the APA again. And then we can reevaluate going forward if we want to do in-person, virtual, what our schedule will be. So my motion is to approve the 9 a.m. time change for SCISDA meetings going forward. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? All righty, motion passed. Thank you, guys. Are there any other miscellaneous items anyone would like to discuss? All righty, our next meeting will be in person at the APA on St. Clair. It'll take place September 12th, 2024 at 9 a.m. And we will get those materials out to you guys in advance and also confirm attendance about a week in advance, just so we don't run into any quorum issues again. Yeah, I really appreciate you guys. If no one else has anything, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Thank you, John. Is there a second?
Second.
Thanks, Sabrina. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, thanks, guys. We're adjourned.
See y'all.
Thank
Have a
you.
great day. Bye-bye.
You too.